Hello, everybody, and thank you for visiting TonyToldMeToDoIt.com. I am faced with an unprecedented challenge, something that very few Americans probably have ever had to deal with, and that is I have been indicted by both the state and the federal government. And right now, people are putting a lot of scrutiny on the mortgage business, and the government has gone through some unbelievable gymnastics to kind of create this idea that I orchestrated a conspiracy. Basically, I told loan officers to make up information and commit mortgage fraud. Even though I've never done a loan in my life, a mortgage loan, I've never submitted a loan or processed a loan, the government has simply decided that I'm a crook. I want to tell you a little bit about our justice system, what I've learned. I never had any dealings with the justice system until this experience. I want to talk to you about that. I want to tell you what it's like to deal with this and how I went through the thought process to fight this nonsense with everything I've got. The government raided my company's offices in December of 2008. They had about 50 cameras, news media there, and they've really done everything they can to put our company out of business. This is a company I started with 2 credit cards in the basement of my house. We started in the Collinwood community of Cleveland, and our dream has been to build a business in Cleveland, to create jobs, to do great things in our community. And I'm not a materialistic person. I live in the same house, I drive the same old car, and my whole life has been dedicated to building this business. And just the unfairness of just seeing the government completely destroying everything I've worked so hard for years is an unbelievable thing. They just simply have done everything they can to ruin my reputation and destroy our company. The prosecutor, Mark Bennett, who's the assistant U.S. attorney from the Justice Department, and his sidekick, Dan Caceres from the state of Ohio, in Bill Mason's office. This is a fascinating experience to actually deal with prosecutors. First of all, they just simply believe what they want to believe. And that's the end of it. I mean, I really would have thought that these guys would be a lot more open-minded and really want to get to the truth. But I guess basically the way they've handled the case that we're dealing with is, you know, someone did some wrong stuff, went into the office, said, yeah, I did it, but Tony told me to do it. And they've really believed that. I mean, they really genuinely believe that I told people to do something wrong. The fact is we run an honorable company and a good company, and we have all kinds of wonderful employees, and we've never put up with any nonsense in our operation at all. But the idea that outside people that weren't my employees were doing something wrong and I told them to do it is really this case. And it comes down to the credibility of people that did wrong things in the mortgage business during the subprime mortgage boom. Meanwhile, these banks that did crazy, crazy things to really ruin the country, first the government turned a blind eye to routinely questionable transactions that closed, cash back, stated income transactions, no verification loans. You know what a ninja loan is? No income, no job, no assets. That's loans these banks were making. First we turned a blind eye to it and ignored it. Then we bailed them out. And now what the government's doing is they're blaming me, a real estate guy, for mortgage fraud. But they believe that, and they don't want to hear anything about it. That's their case, and that's what they think. They're certain in their case, they're incredibly arrogant, and they're wrong. Let me tell you though, to be indicted by the government, to see a piece of paper that says United States of America versus Tony Viola, to see my company being so incredibly damaged when this is what my life's work has been, to have spent all my money on attorneys to try to fight the government. It's an incredible thing. It's so unfair. I don't know if I can ever get my reputation back, even if we win. Winning is very loosely defined in a criminal case. Sure, we win, the case goes away, we go back to work, but what an unbelievable ordeal. What a supreme challenge. And when this first happened, I have to tell you, I was completely despondent. I didn't know if I was cursed. How could something like this happen? We've worked so hard to be a good company that I couldn't believe that the government would actually believe that I would do anything like this. They really think this stuff. It was really scary, a whole range of emotions. Once in a while I'd be really angry. Once in a while I'd be very despondent. Once in a while I thought there was no hope at all. Sometimes I'd think maybe there's a way to fight. I just didn't know what to do. It was really an overwhelming time. When all these things happened to me. And let me tell you what I did. I didn't know if I could win, if I could fight, how I could handle it, how I could deal with it. So I turned to religion. I'm Catholic. And I thought, well, what about my faith? What in my faith would help me? And I have to tell you, I found Thomas A. Kempis. Thomas A. Kempis was a 15th century German monk, and he wrote about a lot of topics in a book called The Imitation of Christ. And he talked about suffering. He talked about it. And it's really interesting because I was really despondent and upset and didn't know what to do. And listen to this. This is a fascinating thing. Thomas A. Kempis says that the premise that suffering is futile and destructive is wrong. It's not a punishment for sins. It's not a response to evil. In fact, it can strengthen your faith. It can help you accept the kind acts of others. It makes us more empathetic and more sensitive. And it's so true. My friends have been so kind to me. It's opened my heart to the wonderful acts of so many people that have supported me through this ordeal. Also, you place your challenges in the face of the suffering of others. And you think about it, you know, sure, but it's just business. I'm dealing with some tough things, but I'm still so fortunate, so blessed, so many wonderful things happening in my life on a day-to-day basis. Thomas A. Kempis said that genuine love is not possible except through suffering. If it upsets our human plans, we must accept that with enlightened faith and trust in God. Suffering, which comes upon us suddenly, is really a call or an invitation to change, to improve your life, to be reborn. Nothing happens by chance. In each circumstance, ask yourself, what does the Lord want from me? In this way, an atmosphere and a mutual bond of friendship and familiarity and kindness is formed, and that's what helps us overcome the challenge. Because the ordeal does not frighten us or make us bitter or make us angry, because charity is there, and it's kind and patient, and it isn't resentful, and it doesn't rejoice in wrong, but it helps us endure.